White people love Josh Johnson because he makes Trevor Noah look like Louis Farrakhan. If I time this right, SNL season number, who gives a damn, is around the corner. Or just premiered, but doesn't matter. Unless Dave Chappelle is doing a monologue, no one under 50 years old cares. Anyway, white edgelord's favorite black Cam Patterson is a new cast member, and I'm sure Josh Johnson has dropped a new clip recapping this week's news in a goofy voice pretending it's stand-up comedy, while white liberals clap at every word. Half of you have come to see me do a lethal takedown of one, if not both, but first, we have some things to establish. Fact about me, I'm a comedy nerd. I love all things comedy. Retro black sitcoms like Martin and the Jamie Foxx Show, adult animated comedies like King of the Hill and The Simpsons, American faux documentary comedies like The Office or Parks and Rec, comedy movies from the 80s or 90s like The Jerk and Robin Hood Men in Tights, aka movies that only your uncle who failed out of grad school can remember. I even enjoy comedy-based YouTube channels like Prims Hood Cinema, Internet Comment Etiquette, and Big Tug. Some of you even know I wrote on the old comedy website crack.com a handful of times when writing articles was a legit side gig, and this is like 4 owners ago. I don't know, I think they do like stand-up comedy or something at this point, which is a weird circle because I don't follow that website. Anyway, moving on, back to the script. My favorite type of comedy, hands down, is stand-up. I'm a mid-30s American man, meaning when I wasn't playing Halo and watching MTV at home, I was watching Comedy Central until Adult Swim came on. As a dumb teenager, I watched guys like Dane Cook. His comedy didn't age well, but as a teen in the early 2000s, he was hot as fish grease. Don't let anyone tell you different or try and rewrite history. Alt comics like Demetri Martin doing his drawings and songs on stage. Early Daniel Tosh, then eventually The Tosh Show. And of course, all the black comics I love. Patrice O'Neal, Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, fellow video essayists. I rock with most of y'all, but we're not going to get into the habit of looking at stand-up comedy with 2025 goggles. All 3 of those brothers made classics for their time. As I get older and discover other amazing comics through the years, Ali Sadiq, Roy Wood Jr., Ronnie Chang, and Bill Burr, but around the year 2000, comedy changed. Thanks to world events and the most racist president anyone under the age of 40 could remember, a lot of comedy was no longer about making people laugh. It was about dunking on the other side politically, being as edgy as possible, even if that didn't include actual jokes, but most important of all, letting your audience know what side, or as Americans see it, what team you are with politically. As someone who talks to other YouTube creators and watches content that they make, I can tell you, I'm in the minority of creators who regularly go outside to social events, and on top of that, have attended comedy shows before and after this change. I don't know what it is about video essays specifically that attracts a type of introverts who don't like to leave the house, but being the opposite gives me a unique view. I watch comedy change and the way people consume it. Side note, let me know if you all want a video on the weird world of podcast stand-up comics in the comments. Let me know down there. I'm here to tell you all, it sucks. It really sucks. All of it. Okay, not all of it, but most of it. Alt-right comedy, liberal comedy, it's fucking awful. It's basically chitlin circuit comedy for white people. If you don't understand that reference, it's basically surface level comedy, like comic view jokes, but for white people. Think Theo Von stand-up. No, worse. Think Andrew Schultz stand-up. Which takes us to chapter 1. Political comedy versus comedy with politics. It's a good chance I'm talking to a mostly younger male audience under 35 years old who consumes media at home, talks to most of their friends in Discord servers, and has a panic attack telling the bartender their drink was made wrong. Something about the Gen Z stare, I don't know. But besides George Carlin, Bill Maher, and The Daily Show, comedy has never been this political. All the best comedy was always a mixture of real life, lies, exaggeration, politics, and like it or not, sprinkle in a little misogyny. Let's look at those names I mentioned. The Daily Show has had some great moments, but no one is like, oh man, I'm about to go watch a highlight of Jon Stewart's funniest moments. Same with Bill Maher. As far as George Carlin, he's a comic that your favorite hipster or video essays mentions. He's less of a comic and more of a well-organized yapper. If I say to someone over 30 years old, Dave Chappelle bought weed from a baby, or women be shopping, they know exactly what bits I'm talking about. Like I talked about in my Boondocks video, similar to satire, comedy in general is far more funnier and has a wider appeal when the humor is based on real life and has chunks of politics in it. Mostly because a majority of people aren't funny enough to make it work. Think of political comedy and satire as salt. It's in almost everything we eat, but if you can taste it 9 times out of 10, it's too much salt. And some assholes want to say, but what about popcorn? To that I say, shut up, bitch. I know internet leftists and liberals have done that thing where they went through Chris Rock old comedy and claimed he was never funny, but there's a reason he was one of the biggest comics in the world. He could touch on black life, politics, and pop culture, all in one set. Same with Dave Chappelle when he wasn't doing his turf rants. Dave and Bill Burr have some of the only SNL monologues from the last 2 decades anyone ever mentions. Yes, Dave's first SNL monologue was 2016. Why is that? Because these are comedians who talk about politics, not political comedians. Because I'm not an internet-brained, terminally ill online content creator, I understand I can enjoy Bill Burr, Dave Chappelle, and John Mulaney comedy while not always agreeing with everything they say on stage or do in their personal life. And if that felt like it was a shot, it's because it was, and you haven't seen anything yet. Those are all comedians that lane left. Somehow it's much worse in the alt-right or the far-right comedy scene, however you want to describe it. You have guys like Andrew Schultz, who I talked about in my white man and homoerotic comedy video, whose attempts at comedy are attempts, is all I can say, to guys like Nelk Boys and Theo Von, whose nonsense is actually funny sometimes till you realize he helped get the Orange Goblin elected, and Nelk Boys sat down with Nathan, I don't know, Neat Me Out. Y'all know, I don't even want to talk about that. YouTube be acting weird, we moving on. Doing research for this video, did I just say video? Doing research for this video, I realized I needed to add a section explaining the comedy scene these men work in, starting now. New York and Austin, Texas, like all groups, the whites are not a monolith. Similar to the blacks, the region depends on the vibe. If you go out on a Saturday night in Detroit, at some point a group of black women will break into a line dance doing a Tamia hustle with about 1/4 of the people in the bar eating lamb chops or wearing Cartier glasses. Or in Atlanta, now this is true, by law, 2 out of every 3 21 and up bars must serve hookah flavored wings. And in Ohio, they stand around waiting for the tumbleweed to pass through, while talking about how they still won the college football playoffs even though the Michigan Wolverines kicked their dicks into the dirt. These are all facts. For some reason, New York is seen as this liberal stronghold in America, even though the New York Police Department has the largest budget in America. I guess because Arabs and mixed race couples don't fear being turned into strange fruit has something to do with that? I don't know. But YouTube, I bet y'all don't flag that reference, you bots. New York has been one of the big 3 comedy scenes in America. The others being Chicago and LA. Since the mid-80s when comedy really took off in America. These cities have broken pretty much every comic and comedic actor you've heard of. And within each city, it's even smaller subgroups. So to not spend too much time nerding on this, I'm gonna move on a little bit more. So just understand, New York and Chicago are seeing more of the working class, blue collar comedy scene. Think of it like this. A joke about freezing your ass off waiting for the subway while eating the egg and cheese isn't going to hit the same way in LA as it does in New York. Or Arab and Indian jokes you got. Then we get into the politics of New York comedy. Turns out, within a 12-hour period, you can run into an Asian, a white, black, Jewish person, Arab, Dominican, Puerto Rican, and West Indian. It's really hard to get the crowd to laugh at racist-ass illegals and ICE jokes and cheer at anti-trans, woke is bad, Trump is actually cool jokes. Which brings us to the Austin comedy scene. Now, I know I haven't done as much breadtooth type content over the last year, unpacking the weirdo alt-white alt-right movement that's created this weirdo comedy scene. But honestly, it's just some edgelord shit, which sucks because I really enjoy comedy that plays on the lines. One of my favorite comics who mastered that is Norm Macdonald. But the alt-right comedy scene is mostly comics saying whatever they want while complaining you can't say anything. Oh, and then spamming the word retard and N-word with the hard ER for some reason, and still trans jokes. It's almost 2026. And in David Lucas' case, a George Floyd joke that wasn't remotely funny. The guy's a piece of shit. We may talk about him later, but we probably won't. He's not even worth any more attention in this video. The thing with comedy is, you can say whatever you want, but if the delivery isn't funny or jokes don't land, then you have to take it. Turns out Joe Rogan, the podcaster who identifies as a comedian, felt LA was too sensitive for his amazing comedy skills and moved his entire operation to Austin, Texas, and opened the comedy mothership. On top of that, another unfunny guy named Tony Heathcliff started Kill Tony variety comedy show out in Austin, Texas. He and his dipshit fans judge other comics who do 60 to 90 seconds routines for a crowd. Could I have gotten the exact dates and times for all of this? Yes, but I really do not care about these guys, and I don't respect their hustle. Anyway, that's when Cam Patterson comes from. He became Tony's favorite black about a year ago after the aforementioned David Lucas derailed his career with said George Floyd joke. Now that all of that's out of the way, get your bags together. The bus has finally arrived at the fireworks factory, whatever chapter this is. Two sides of the same coin, aka performative blackness. So what exactly is performative blackness? Well, in her book, All About Love, Bell Hooks writes, okay, no, I'm joking. I have actually read a couple Bell Hooks books, but guys, come on, we talking about stand-up comedy. And I'm pretty sure I was excommunicado from Cornbread Tube for something I don't know. Anyway, I'm no longer required to mention her name in every third video. What is performative blackness? It's not exactly cooning in, not quite code switching, but mix all of that up in just how you present for a mostly white audience, and that's what you get. White people as a whole have an interesting obsession with black American culture, which is understandable. U.S. media output has used black American life as an export for profit for decades. While it has its pros with countless black poets, authors, musicians, athletes, and entertainers, it has just as many cons. Still to this day, many people see black men and think of us as the super athletic buck, or if you can intelligently express yourself while wearing a shirt with a collar, you're seen as an outlier. A lot of people are still surprised 6'+ Dominique Foxworth and Ryan Clark, two retired football players who really aren't that big for football players, can form a sentence. I thought only Urkel-ass square-ass niggas could do that, they say. So, Josh Johnson. While it's true he has a mostly white audience, one thing we have to understand is the type of whites who are his fans. Josh Johnson is the favorite comic of the white liberal. And of course, that's not his only audience, I know. He's the Drake of stand-up. He's the NBC police procedural stand-up. He's the McDonald's Chicken McNuggets of stand-up. Look him up on YouTube or TikTok. He's extremely popular, millions of views. He's probably the only comedian under 50 years old, your auntie, that thinks Jimmy Fallon is funny, watches. His fans have never seen a Roy Wood Jr. stand-up special, so they think Josh Johnson does political comedy. Let's talk about what the appeal for Josh Johnson is. Like all creators, I'm in a group chat with other YouTube creators. That, along with the fact I mentioned I find his comedy plain as a raw flour tortilla, one of the most common defenses you see in the comments of this video, well, one of the that you're going to see, because I know they're coming, is, I like Josh Johnson. He's nice, or he's adorable. If the main compliment of someone's comedy isn't about the writing or the jokes, then that person isn't a good comic. Also, what a Marge Simpson-ass reason to like someone. I like potatoes, I just think they're neat. Believe it or not, it's a ton of people who have no idea who this guy is. I had no idea until a couple of your favorite video essays suggested him to me. He's on a Comedy Central show, The Daily Show, and does stand-up recapping the news weekly outside of the show. But what is it about Josh Johnson that makes him appeal to the white liberal? Much like a feral dog, the white liberal isn't very selective in taste. Sure, each would prefer the metaphorical ribeye steak, but some leftover spaghetti spilled out of a dumpster in the back of an Italian mafia-fronted business will do. Food is food. Oh, and if they can say they support a minority, especially a black man, oh, then they on it like snakes on a plane.
I've had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Everybody strap in.
While the white liberal might not be selective in quality, what it likes is to fit a mold. It's why years later, MLK is treated like Black Santa Claus despite having radical politics. Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly won a Pulitzer Prize, and FD Signifier is the biggest black creator on this site who isn't a former rapper, athlete, or appears on TV. Is T-Pac one of the best albums post-blog era rap? Yes, but I'm almost positive white libs don't actually know why. Is FD one of the best storytellers and video essays on this site? Yes, but it also really helps that, as he says, whites see him as a big teddy bear. Which brings us to Josh Johnson. Every time I see him, he looks like the black guy they hired to give the tours around Amazon HQ once the press shows up because one of the clankers gained self-awareness and jumped out of a 30-story window after learning about corporations' tax laws and what capitalism is. So the New York Times needs an interview for Jeff Bezos' puff piece. He's what you get if someone asked AI to make a safe black person in 2025. He's the modern Wayne Brady, but not as charming or funny. But like I said earlier, his rise was in the post-2020 America where a lot of people don't really want comedy. They want to hear what they already believe, reinforced from a comedy stage. Does Josh Johnson have good politics for a comedian? Yes, but not to go all post-sci. That's short for political science. It saves me time when I'm talking. Shout out to my guy ATB for that one. But Josh Johnson isn't popular with leftists. He's popular with liberals, mostly white liberals. If we really want to acknowledge, I'm not sure if you all heard, but liberals really want their own Joe Rogan. And that's really my beef with JJ. That's what I'll be calling Josh Johnson for short to save time. Not just JJ, this whole genre of comedy that panders to the left or alt-right comedy scene. I've given him multiple chances and I realized what it is. He doesn't tell jokes. Don't get that confused with me not finding him funny. Comedy is subjective. I didn't find Kevin Hart's stand-up specials after he blew up as a star very funny, but he still wrote and told actual jokes. JJ performs for what I call applauser instead of laughter.
People can only watch so much news, you know, but y'all saw the president at the UN. This is...
As I write the script, this is his latest video of stand-up. If you only listening to this video while you cook or walk the dog or something, I did the finger things around stand-up, so you know I'm being a real dickhead about it. If you or I find the opening funny or not is subjective. What's not is the fact he hasn't told a joke. He hasn't set up a premise. He simply asks a question. And you know how I know I'm right? The audience isn't even laughing. They're cheering and clapping because they know an Orange Man Bad session is coming. You know who else doesn't tell jokes and makes observations for the audience to clap and applause for? That's right, 30% of my audience whose attention span hasn't been ruined by TikTok remembers. It's Joe Rogan. We just said his name like 5 seconds ago, guys. Come on, keep up. His last special, Burn the Bridges, got destroyed by people who's not totally anti-woke, and the majority of his own subreddit. I couldn't finish it, so I watched a review of it on YouTube, and it's bad. Like, it's really bad, guys. And that's when it hit me. Oh, liberals and the alt-right aren't really interested in actual comedy that says something. They just want to see the guy spew things they already believe. Now, for a better example of Orange Man jokes, here's a few seconds of John Mulaney, horse in the hospital bit.
This guy being the president, it's like there's a horse loose in a hospital. It's like there's a horse loose in a hospital. I think eventually everything's gonna be okay, but I have no idea what's gonna happen next. And neither do any of you, and neither do your parents, because there's a horse loose in the hospital. It's never happened before. No one knows what the horse is gonna do next, least of all the horse. He's never been in a hospital before. He's as confused as you are.
Does Mulaney seem like he's been transported from a 1950s black and white film? Yes. Is he suspiciously frail for an adult male his age? Yes. Is this a ridiculous concept and set up for a joke? Yes. Rather you find that full 4-minute clip that I can't include funny or not isn't a point. He set up a funny premise and builds off of that, and the audience is reacting to that. Now, I don't know if y'all can tell, but I've been sick for like a week. I'm losing my voice. I thought I was better, but I have to record this video. Make sure y'all subscribe if you can. Support me on Patreon, buy me a coffee, join my YouTube channel membership, anything. I'm trying to get this video, and I have editors to pay. So that you can't say, oh, well, that's not fair, John. You gave Mulaney time for his joke. Okay, here's more of JJ, Orange Man Bad set.
I didn't see everything as it was happening. I heard about some stuff later, right? So then I got a text message from my friend. They were like, oh, did you see what happened at UN? I'm like, no, I didn't see what happened at UN. And they explained to me that, you know, he was getting on escalator and then the escalator stopped. Now, I thought at the time, it was going very differently. I thought the escalator stopped on like a down escalator. That would have been a big deal. Imagine you on escalator, you have belief. You get on a down escalator, you're like, all right, it's gonna take me where I need to go. No need for a seatbelt. If that thing just stops, the momentum, whoa! Now the president's falling down the steps, so I thought that's what happened. Then I watched the video and I saw that he just walked up to the escalator, stepped on the escalator, and the escalator broke.
Still not jokes, guys. JJ fans who think this is comedy, replace Josh Johnson with Joe Rogan and Orange Man with Biden. Same delivery and everything. Can you honestly say those are actually funny jokes, or they're even jokes at all? Alright, so anti-woke bros, I hope you got your laugh in. It's your turn now. Okay, let's talk about performative blackness, staying on code and minstrel acts. In the same way a white liberal audience loves a black person who checks all your boxes, clean cut, college educated, can mention all the correct authors, yada yada, the alt-right white man love the exact opposite. The alt-right white man is very insecure, despite being made up of straight white men who, since the founding of this country, has and still does run basically everything from the government to Fortune 500 CEOs to the guy who gets to decide when Simpsons Treehouse of Horror airs. Seriously. What the fuck? The show has been on for 36 years. Just make it the last Sunday of October. A few years ago, at the point when I was a far, much less experienced video essayist, I did a video on 2 different movies that, if I was king of Earth, I would make required viewing for any aspiring black creators, that being Hollywood Shuffle and Spike Lee's Bamboozled. They both had the same thing, a cautionary tale about performative blackness. But not just performative blackness, but doing it for the white gays. In Black All-Stars, OG Robert Townsend's self-funded movie Hollywood Shuffle, he deals with his dreams of making it into Hollywood while also having to accept stereotypical roles reserved for blacks in the late 80s. Mostly pimps and street hoods. That's what they called street niggas back then. In Black All-Star, OG Triple OG, Spike Lee movie, Bamboozled, Damon Wayans' character deals with the success of a series he created to intentionally show blacks as dumb, slack-jawed minstrel acts. Which brings us to Cam Patterson.
So I got my very first apartment because of stand-up comedy, and that's great, you know what I'm saying, I love it. But I got roaches real bad. I got roaches so bad I got a home, but right, he had roaches. But I asked him, I said, how did you get rid of them? He said, I just trained them. And I was like, nigga, that's not possible. Bitch, you can't train roaches. But I should have trained my roaches because at my house, I had 3 roaches. They'd be on their side of the room, I'd be on my side of the room. We'd have a good night. Wouldn't bother each other. But I brought a girl over one time, and there was 72 roaches in my room doing TikToks and shit. They were making podcasts, nigga. They were moonwalking, they were crazy, right? And at one point, me and this girl was watching a movie, and I was killing roaches as I watched the movie. So I watched the movie and I murdered a roach. Then I watched the movie and I murdered a roach. And at one point she came up to me and said, Cam, it was a big ass Lizzo roach that walked into the middle of the TV. And I couldn't avoid this bitch. And she was like, Cam, it's okay. I got roaches too. And I was like, ew, bitch, that's nasty. You dirty slut. Yeah, nigga.
Fuck
Yeah.
yes.
What's up, nigga?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
What's up, nigga? Come on, nigga. Come
Cam
on, nigga.
Patterson.
Come with me.
That's him performing in front of the Kill Tony crowd in Austin, Texas for almost an entirely white crowd. God, we have a lot to unpack. Non-Americans, is stand-up comedy this fucking convoluted where you live? Like, y'all know it's entire channels who talk about stuff like this, and they get really good views every week. So if the name Kill Tony sounds familiar, it's because that's the guy who told that corny Puerto Rico joke at one of Donald Trump's rallies. He also has his own variety show in Austin, Texas, where comics have 90 seconds to tell a racist joke and they judge him. The Austin comedy scene plays a big part in this because it's the same city where podcast host Joe Rogan, who identifies as a stand-up comedian, also moved this entire operation. Because New York was too woke or some shit. Now, it's entire videos and YouTube channels about the Austin comedy scene and how comics are realizing if you want to work on jokes for a national tour or bigger venue, a room full of rednecks who think Joe Rogan is a genius and black pilots cause plane crashes isn't the best place to get your reps up for a new set. Because, you know, you kind of need to work on jokes and see which work and which don't, instead of a room where people are going to laugh at everything. Similar to Josh Johnson, Cam Patterson performance of blackness for a mostly white, right-leaning crowd is strange to keep it nice. It's 2025, and he's doing jokes about roaches. If you watch other clips, his jokes involve selling drugs and his dick size jokes. Now, I don't mind edgy humor. I actually think a lot of Patrice O'Neal old bits are still funny. And as a black comic, its experience is only they can tell. Your life experience will influence your comedy based on region, life, etc. But Cam's humor, much like JJ's, is the most surface level. This thing happened, boom, black people sell drugs, nigga this, nigga that, the end. This coming from someone who says the N-word at least a dozen times before I've had my morning protein shake and frozen fruit. Now, I could also do an entire video on why crowd work is ruining stand-up, but I'm gonna just show y'all a video of Cam doing crowd work for a mostly white audience. If you're not black, you may not get it.
This shit of all time. All right, let's get this shit started. Go ahead, ask me something. Rocks, you said, hey nigga, fuck you. All right. I'm tired of that shit. I said it one time, the white people like, black people got autism too? This is great. And now I'm y'all king. Got this a rock, nigga, it's a rock. I got a rock in my head. Okay, anything else? I knew that was gonna be the first one. You said what? Roller coaster. You said roller coasters? I like them, they cool as shit, you know what I'm saying? Roller coasters are fun. Hey, pick something else that's better, dickhead. I like roller coasters, they're pretty cool, man. I don't know what the fuck you want me to do, a roller coaster, dumbass. You said what?
Self-driving cars.
Self-driving cars. They gonna kill us one day. And I believe that fully, 100%. I really feel as if you're gonna get in the car one day, that bitch is gonna drive you off a fucking cliff, and that's your fault, nigga. If that bitch drive you, yes, you were supposed to die in that car. That's your fucking fault, you dumbass piece of shit. All right. Do you like self-driving cars?
No.
Good, you a smart nigga, man. Hell yeah. Anything else? Go ahead, keep going.
Horoscopes.
You said what? What is that?
Horoscopes.
Stupid as fuck. Dumbest shit in the world. I don't believe him, but I'm an Aries. All right,
Blacks and non-blacks, y'all allowed this time. Let's talk about staying on code. Some who don't know the game might foolishly confuse this with respectability politics. It's not at all. Staying on code is essentially how you carry yourself in the presence of those not in the culture. Because we as the people are not a monolith, but we also all we have. For example, you have guys like Van Lathan and Mark Lamont Hill, two brothers who I respect. Their appearance on CNN and other channels I don't watch are completely different. Then the Joe Budden podcast and other podcasts with a majority black cast in the room. Cam Patterson is known in the Kill Tony subreddit as the black friend. A majority of the comments agree He's not funny, but Tony keeps putting him on stage because he's the black guy of the crew. And I have to agree, his comedy is just bad. But more than that, the type of energy he presents for whites really reminds me of the halfway point of the movie Bamboozled. I know some of y'all won't understand what I'm saying. I did a video on it a long time ago, I deleted it, it was bad. Go watch FD Signifier video about Bamboozled, it's fucking amazing. As a black person in entertainment, I'm not saying you need to shave your whole face and dress like Josh Johnson like you in a job interview. But what exactly is Cam's comedy? Like, how will you describe it to someone who's never seen it? The hood black guy who says the N-word a lot? I'll be very clear. The type of white audience who gravitates towards Kill Tony shows and Joe Rogan's comedy, Spaceship, these are the types of blacks they like. They don't respect black people. They don't think we are intelligent. They like that he clicks every racist stereotype they already have and thus reinforces them. Compare Cam's comedy to Roy Wood Jr., another black man who uses the N-word pretty liberally.
Lived 2 doors down from a crack house in Birmingham. And the way the neighborhood was set up, when we played baseball, if you hit a home run, it went into the backyard of the crack house. So if you hit a home run, you got 2 choices. You can hop the fence and maybe catch AIDS from a needle in the backyard. Or you can knock on the front door of a crack house and pray that they don't confuse you with the SWAT team and murder your ass. So we would knock and then stand to the side of the door in case the goddamn bullet come through. And these dudes were cool as fuck, man. They opened the door. What's going on, little nigga? And be like, sir, we were playing baseball and the ball went into your crack-infested backyard. Would you mind taking a break from chopping up your crack? And just get in our baseball, please, And they would. Not only would the crack dude give us our baseball, he would buy us baseballs. He would go to fucking Hibbett Sporting Goods at Western Hills Mall and bring us fucking baseballs. I didn't know at the time that he was basically buying our loyalty. You know, let me know if the police say something to y'all. You want some baseballs?
I think y'all might understand, so let's move on to the next chapter. Political comedy versus politics and comedy. Liberal comedy and political comedy are 2 different things. If you are a non-comedy nerd and don't obsess about things like this, you may have never given it a second thought. So the best way I can describe it is some more news, Josh Johnson's weekly news recap, and SNL's, CNN, like Fox News bits that they do sometimes. They all pretend to say something, but it's closer to that one SpongeBob episode where he's at the talent show and the crowd cheers whenever he appears. What these performers are doing isn't harmful. They aren't inciting violence toward marginalized people. They're like lukewarm, perfectly in the middle. Sure, Some More News does an informative video about old Donnie T's big beautiful bill, but the puppet sidekick and disheveled look with the wrinkly suit bit gets old after the 100 video. I mean, at least Last Week Tonight has the common decency to hire a skinny British man with an actual writer's room. I understand satire, but let's be real. Most SNL political bits come down to, ha ha ha, this person talks funny, or did you hear the crazy thing that happened? Side note, at some point I'll be making a why satire is kinda dead video, but the fact SNL can only get a viral clip once every 4 years kinda proves that point. What I'm saying is, it's not that I hate political comedy, it's just that in real life, when America is speed running its downfall like a high school sophomore playing Super Mario Town, the haha, Republicans are evil and dumb, when more and more of my generation and younger are accepting the fact that Democrats are center-right at best, the orange man mispronounced a word isn't as funny jokes. They just don't work. When Democrats, and this isn't a perfect one-to-one ratio or conversion, but they fail to accomplish jack shit when in office, and it's realistically a 50% chance hunting the homeless for sport 3 months out of the year will be legal by the next election in America. So sorry if gender fluid black guy in a hoodie performing for white people doesn't hit for me. Let's talk about the opposite. comics that are political. The only thing worse than a comedian whose entire act is politics is one who completely avoids it. These are known as pussy. Let's talk about authenticity in comedy and politics when it comes to entertainment. Authenticity is one of the most important factors. Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell first interview with the media a few years ago. He gets on stage and he does his speech about fighting kneecaps and ass cheeks and fighting to the last minute, and we're gonna fight you and we're gonna get back up and we're gonna get knocked down and we're gonna fight again. At the time, local and national media, they laughed and look at this musclehead talk. How did he even get this job as a head coach? But guess what? That team believed in him. Jump to 2025, the Detroit Lions had the reputation as one of the hardest playing, grittiest teams in the league because as a player and as a coach, in games, old Danny Boy is authentic to the only people who matter, and that's the Detroit Lions players. For all I know, JJ could 100% be this real-life dorky version of himself he plays on stage. But I can tell you right now, the Detroit player in me had one too many bells go off. I don't trust a 35-year-old nigga with no facial hair that wears a zip-up hoodie and swaggerless jeans. It's the same zip-up hoodie and jeans. If you're wearing a zip-up hoodie, you better have the matching jogging pants. Like, what are you, 12 years old going to a Chuck E. Cheese birthday party? Like, I'm not crazy, y'all, right? It's just something too swaggerless about his outfit for me to trust. Does Cam Patterson normally act and dress like that? Maybe. But it really seems like he's turning it up for the whites who want to see the full black experience. Black men specifically, y'all know what I mean. We've all worked with non-blacks who get disappointed when every story you tell isn't like an episode of The Wire. So let's look at the very underrated stand-up comic, Michael Che, who masters the art of political comedy and being authentic. This is a few years old, but notice how well it aged.
We can't agree on anything anymore. As a country, we just can't agree. We just fight about everything. We can't even agree on Black Lives Matter. That's a controversial statement. Black lives matter. Not matters more than you, just matters. Matters. Just matters.
The majority of you said New York, and you would be correct. He just gives off mid-30s East Coast black man energy. And also, most people in their mind when they picture the East Coast, they only picture New York. Like, you never hear somebody say, oh, I bet that guy is from Philly or Baltimore. We don't have to argue on if the clip inserted is actually funny or not, but it's a well thought out bit. As opposed to, oh gosh, the whites did this, or man, niggas ain't say Black Lives Matter now. Michael Che is a comedian and writer. JJ and Cam are people who tell jokes on stage for a white audience. Not to make it seem like I'm the know-it-all for stand-up comedy, but real comics adjust jokes based on the region and crowd. But that's such a tight bit, he could do that in an all-black crowd in front of a mostly lesbian, purple-haired, and hipster stash crowd in Seattle, or mixed Austin, Texas crowd. Despite what Joe Rogan says, Austin, Texas isn't this super red anti-stronghold. This is the same city whose motto is, keep Austin weird. They deserve better comedy than the Joe Rogan verse and Kill Tony. But enough about stand-up, because for some reason, half of all comedy revolves around having a podcast. So let's talk about another comic who's actually killing it at being on the right side of history. Twink Jew, Adam Freeland. Again, I do not feel like doing the whole wiki read on him just to pad the script out for more ad revenue. But Adam would not pass the online leftist purity test, and y'all do. He made his name on the frat boy edgelord humor podcast, Come Time. Yes, that title should let you know exactly what it's about. But around 2007-ish, when Adam was 19, he made his trip to Israel that all young Jews do. He seen how they lived, how the people of Palestine lived, and was like, hey, parents, what the fuck? And immediately stopped being a Zionist. So fast forward all the way to 2025, he has his own comedy podcast that's somewhere between a late night talk show and a comedy podcast. On the more serious side, in a complete insane episode, Adam, a white Jewish man, has to debate a black Republican, Richie Torres, on college students protesting Israel not being anti-Semitic. I don't even have funny commentary, and I decided to not include a clip because Buddy isn't even trying to have a logical conversation. And just so in case it wasn't clear, Adam is on the side saying, no, it's not anti-Semitic for people to protest Israel. And in the very next episode, he talks to Mia Khalifa about her very short run as an adult film star and her autism. So what I'm saying is, family, comedy can be good. It can have a soul and something to say. When we reduce black art in any form into just tap dancing for whites, it hurts all of us. So everyone do better. Blacks in entertainment, study Spike Lee, Robert Townsend, all the greats. Have some pride. I'm John Lewis, and I'm out.